she's a big target, so she is going to face a very grim life locked behind bars. There's some hard labour coming up for Erin Patterson. Some would say very much deserved. Wayne Flower reporting here again for the Daily Mail in Melbourne. Now, I'm here to talk to you today a little bit about the predicament of Erin Patterson. Of course, Erin Patterson is the mushroom killer, convicted and sentenced to 33 years behind bars. Effectively a life sentence, but she will be able to go for parole then. What we do know about Erin Patterson is that she lived a pretty privileged life before all of this happened. Her mum was a successful academic, had a beautiful house up in Eden in the southern part of New South Wales, beautiful country. When she passed away, Erin Patterson got a large chunk of inheritance from that property. She'd also previously inherited some money from her grandmother, which meant she was pretty wealthy around the times that these killings happened. She had a pretty extensive real estate portfolio. She had originally a home in Curramborough, was the family home. She'd also had a place in Mount Waverley. She then, of course, bought the house in Gibson Street in Leongatha. They had properties, joint names with her estranged husband, Simon, who continues to live in one of those homes. When Patterson was charged in November of 23, she sold that Mount Waverley property for a little over $1 million. Now, defending murder charges is not cheap. We know that every time a barrister steps into the Supreme Court, very basically you're looking between 5 and 10 grand. So she had a very experienced barrister called Colin Mandy, SC, who would have been charging a considerable amount of money to provide that defence. He did so for months and months and months last year in pre-trial hearings that were held in secret. She had a large legal team headed by Bill Doog. She had another barrister, Sophie Stafford, lawyer, Ophelia Holloway. There was a lot of money tied up in trying to free Erin Patterson. Now, how they were getting paid, you assume that a lot of money that was coming their way up front. Erin Patterson was very generous with her money. She had loaned hundreds of thousands of dollars to Simon Patterson's relatives. Now, the state of those debts, were they paid back? We don't know, but she may have had some of that money to access. She certainly would have had the money to access from the Mount Waverley property, money tied up in the Leongatha home. Of course, the police have come in and put a caveat on that house now. She won't be able to access any of that money. They want the money to pay possibly victims of crime compensation. There was 28 people who came forward and gave victim impact statements at Erin Patterson's pre-sentence plea hearing. So these are people that are all in line or have potential to make a compensation claim. Now, that money is likely to come out of Erin Patterson's estate. She has 28 days to appeal from the date she was sentenced. At the moment, there's been no word whether that appeal is going to happen. Appeals cost a lot of money. We believe that Erin Patterson is about out of money at the moment. She would have exhausted all of her funds providing that defence. So Colin Mandy is unlikely to appear for her during that appeal. What we think she will need to do is to apply for Victorian legal aid. Now, this is a taxpayer-funded legal service, and they'll have to weigh up whether they think it's within the interests of justice to provide that service. She's going to need some very significant grounds to be able to launch an appeal, particularly if she's going to launch an appeal over a conviction. She may appeal the length of a sentence, but she had got a pretty good deal there on that sentence as well. Probably, some would argue, should have had life without parole. So to get an appeal happening, it's going to take a lot of time, it's going to take a lot of effort, it's going to take a lot of money. Erin Patterson, we don't believe, has that fortune any longer. We think that she's about broke. So we wait and see now whether any sort of appeal is going to happen, or will Erin Patterson fade away into a distant memory. Her life as it stands is fairly grim. She is held within Dame Phyllis Frost's women's prison. She is there with some of the most dangerous and vilest female criminals in the planet. She's kept in a unit called the Gordon Unit. She's effectively in isolation most of the day, 23 hours, stuck there in a small cell, a little courtyard, which she can access now and then if everything is right, if there's no one else there who can harm her. Prison authorities are rightfully concerned about Erin Patterson's safety. She is a massive target in jail, and she is likely to remain a massive target in jail for the foreseeable future, at least for the next decade or more. There's documentaries already being made now about her. There's probably going to be books. There's going to be more podcasts coming out. A lot of these things prisoners will have access to. She's a big target, so she is going to face a very grim life locked behind bars, and it was the only factor that saw her have that non-parole period added to her. It was the only thing she had going for her. She had no mitigating factors, no mental health problems, nothing that she could put forward. She maintains her innocence, and in the eyes of the law, really doesn't show very good prospects of rehabilitation. Inside jail, she'll get 3 meals a day. She has access to a prison pantry, which, you really got to work to earn money for that pantry. She's not going to be working anytime soon in that jail. So, some hard labour coming up for Erin Patterson. Some would say very much deserved.